Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me once again is my colleague, staff writer Zach Everson. Zach, thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for bringing me back, Brittany.
You're reporting that back in October, the CEO of the small business that scored millions of dollars in federal contracts donated millions of dollars to groups backing President Donald Trump. So first, I want you to talk to us about the CEO. Who is she, and does she have a history of being political?
So this one really stood out when we were looking at MAGA Inc.'s latest filing. MAGA Inc. is the hybrid PAC, kind of part regular PAC, part super PAC that's affiliated with Donald Trump. And looking through the names of the donors, there are a lot of familiar names on there. But all of a sudden, I noticed there was one that was $4 million from Michelle D'Souza of Michigan. So I started looking into her, and she is the CEO of a company called Unified Business Technologies. And she has not been a major political donor. In fact, looking through FEC records, she has only donated about $64,000 to campaigns going back to around 2012, which, a lot of money to donate to campaigns, but a pittance when you're comparing it to the $4 million she donated to MAGA Inc. And of that $64,000 she donated, almost half of it went to Democrats.
It's really interesting because $64,000 is really a drop in the bucket when you're looking at donating $4 million or a little bit over that. So the question I have is why now?
It's a great question. I reached out, did not get an answer on that. October 2025 was a big month in terms of her donations. In addition to the $4 million to MAGA Inc., she also made 2 donations to the Republican National Committee at the end of the month that totaled $177,000. Look through her social media profiles. On LinkedIn, she had largely been apolitical until a few weeks ago when all of a sudden there was started seeing a lot of pro-Trump messaging. So not quite sure, what led her to go all in at Donald Trump at this point.
And I'm really curious even more so about the timing giving to MAGA Inc. going all in on Donald Trump. This is obviously a PAC that's aligned with President Trump, but he can't run for re-election. So why this group particularly? Where's that money going to?
Well, it's still incredibly useful to the president to have a war chest that he can use to, either fund supporters' re-election campaigns or fund challengers to incumbent Republicans who haven't been obedient. And that's the whole point of keeping this war chest, is to be able to, help his agenda go through. Also, there's, they spend a little money at Trump properties every once in a while, so there is a little bit of a kickback there.
I do now want to look at this company a little bit more. Talk to us about it. It's Unified Business Technologies, UBT. It has a history of federal contracts. How much money have they received from these contracts, and what exactly do they do for the federal government?
So Unified Business Technologies, based out of Michigan, founded in 1997, so it's not some sort of flyby company. And it's got a great name, Unified Business Technologies. You see a lot of small-time government contracting businesses just have kind of bland names like that. I once worked for a company called Resource Consultants. So you see a lot of stuff like that. This company has gotten $250 million in awards from the federal government going back to 2008, which was the earliest year that the data was available online. About 234 million of that was from the Department of Defense, but it has also performed work for departments of Interior, Commerce, Veterans Affairs. It does IT, it does some telecoms work, also some manufacturing as well.
And so it's raked in over $250 million worth of federal contracts. And I'm curious what the rules are here, because the CEO of UBT just donated millions to a PAC aligned with President Trump. Is she allowed to do that? Are businesses that get these federal contracts, are they allowed to donate? What are the rules here? Is it fuzzy?
Yeah, so businesses typically are not allowed to directly donate to a political committee if they hold a federal contract at that time. If they had held them in the past and held them in the future, but not when they made the donation, that might not be an issue. In terms of the CEO is able to donate to these groups, assuming it came from personal money. The FEC does not look highly on making a donation to a political group and then being reimbursed from the company, or all of a sudden, taking a multi-million-dollar withdrawal from your company that is atypical and then passing that on to a political committee. That an FEC, investigation, if it uncovered it, it would probably lead to some sanctions.
And does it appear, based on your reporting, that any campaign finance law was violated in this instance?
No, does not appear to be the case. We don't know exactly where this money came from. I did ask her a couple times, but assuming it came from her and went to this hybrid PAC, that would be on the up and up. So it doesn't show an example of the law being broken, but it does have a lot of people questioning the ethics behind this, where you have a government contractor who ostensibly is going to be continuing to bid for government work, donating $4 million to Donald Trump's war chest.
We always talk about that, right? Where a law might not be broken, but there are always ethical concerns when we're at this intersection of money and politics. Specifically, how big are those concerns here?
The watchdogs we spoke to thought they were significant. That you can see, you don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen if this company, if Unified Business Technologies is to go ahead and win a government contract in the next couple months. Is it because it's a good company that's been around from 1997 and has been providing good service to the government for years, or is it because they threw $4 million at a Trump-affiliated PAC? We don't know, and that's the issue you have right here, where you can make donations like this to political committees.
And so what specifically are you looking out for next when we're hanging out at this intersection of money and politics?
Yeah, so there's several things that I'm going to be looking at. First of all would be to see if this company wins any more contracts. Most likely it will. Like I said, it's won several in the past, so I'm kind of curious if it wins any, what the timing is there. Also continuing to look at filings with the federal election commissions to see if the CEO, Michelle D'Souza, makes any more contributions. And then, if the FEC were to investigate, keeping an eye on that. Now, the issue is the FEC hasn't had a quorum for almost a year. It only has 2 members. It needs 4, so it can't really do anything anyways, even if it were to think this was worth looking into.
Well, certainly a lot to look out for, and I hope we can have a lot of conversations along the way. Zach Everson, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me back.